Hey, what's up, everybody? This is CM here with the next episode of the Common Sense Lifestyle and Perspective here. A little twist on changing the title, but I thought I'd come out with another new episode here and give you my take on what I saw. I'm planning on doing something about Disney. I know that a friend in the space that I've known for a few years now, and he's referred to as the Oracle, has been looking for me to cover Disney, and I do want to cover Disney. I got this um, loads of information I'm trying to, I guess you could say, compile together into content. But yeah, I wanted to talk about this right here because it kind of, anytime I talk about something, it's because something struck a chord in me, like to where I got to talk about it. So the big deal over the last couple of days was, Kamala's economic plan of what she wants to do to revive the economy, revive, um, the whole economic situation that's happening in the United States and all that stuff. Because of where it's at right now, it's very stagnant. We're in this whole inflation thing. Everything is higher in price. Everything that we're all about living in, it's just bad right now. It's so bad, right? And then she has this sort of proposal that, oh, if you elect me, this is what I'm going to do. And it's like, well, you're already technically in place. You could, like, talk to Joe Biden about this sort of stuff that you're trying to propose. And it's kind of weird. This whole thing has just been so weird. But anyhow, before we begin diving into that, subscribe to my channel here. If you just stumbled across it, hit the bell icon. And, because I always come out with some content and just stuff that people talk about, people want to talk about. And it's where we're at with things. I like talking about stuff. And I invite people to join in on the conversation. All right? Share with me what you think. Point, counterpoint. And I think my whole thing, too, is eventually we could live stream at some point about talking about anything and everything here when it comes to topical matters. Um, I do have another channels as well covering crypto. So, I would do live stream in regards to this sort of thing here for this channel. And I also have a crypto channel that I want to do a live stream for in terms of covering crypto. But I could also play it both ways as well, you know what I'm saying? But anyhow, all right, enough of that stuff. So this whole economic proposal and all that, and it's like, going back to that is, well, you can already do it. You've already had 3 years to do it, 3, 4 years, whatever to do it, and what is stopping you from doing it now? Don't say because Joe's the president. It's like, no, but you know how much of a head start you could get the ball rolling with these dumbass ideas and proposals and stuff that you're trying to say. I don't know, maybe because you just want your name on it, and that's the reason why you're trying to create this sort of aura about her as a person versus Joe as the president, and so and trying to say that, yeah, I'm with Joe but I'm different, type of thing. I don't know. It's like a lot of stuff is like, it's so left out in the open that's not being said that it should be said. And that's the whole thing about it. All right. So I don't know. It's just stupid. All right. Let's see here. So some of the stuff that was talked about is first ever federal ban on grocery price gouging. All right. So we'll talk about that. All right. Because I worked in the grocery business, and I've worked in retail. Working in the beer business as well, and I could tell you how businesses go about things when it comes to pricing and all that. All right. So all these stores, like all these supermarkets and stores, you know, the way they go about when it comes to pricing, believe it or not, and like I said, I've worked in the beer business side, so I've seen how the deals go down on how these stores buy products and why they price the way they price. And definitely is not about price gouging, right? It's the cost of buying those products determines the price of what they sell it for. All right. So, um, what these businesses like to do, again, from what I've seen, all right, they a lot of times are selling it below margin. All right. Especially the ones that are on promotion, like the sales ads, say, oh, if you buy it, if you look at the supermarket ads and things like that, those items specifically on the supermarket ads are bought at a discounted price, yes, but they're being sold under margin, all right? Uh, and then a lot of store items in the store itself is sold at a markup because store needs to make money. So there's a balance in the stores, right? Because on the one side, you have prices that are just regular price for certain everyday items, and that's their margin because again, it's how much you bought it for. You got to mark it up so you can make profit. That's how it works. To sell something at cost or below cost, a lot of times are the promotional items in the stores and all that. And that's what they're doing because what's another way you can make profit besides margin, right? It's volume. If you sell a lot of volume, a lot of stuff, a lot of whatever it is that you're trying to promote. So I'll just use the beer as an example since I've been in the beer business and I've seen how the retail side works, right? Because I worked in it for a few years. They buy it because say like my company at the time offers it at a promotional price to buy it at, right? So what these markets do is they buy in extra stock, what they call inventory, and what they do is they put it at a promotional price, which is below margin, and then below margin, they're trying to get volume because if you sell a shitload of it, they make up the profit on the volume side of things. And that's how it really works. And that's how all these markets do it. Doesn't matter if it's the mom and pops liquor stores, doesn't matter if it's the supermarkets. That's how they've done business for years. And to say that they're price gouging, no, it's because it's more of the manufacturers and the companies that produce the products are the ones that are trying to pass the buck for the stores to buy it at, and the stores can only, price things so low, and then they're losing money, all right? And then they're really not making a lot of money in these stores, but they're making enough to go through. And then once you start hearing all these huge figures about how all these businesses are making a shit ton of money, blah, 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 well, it's because people are buying. That's what it really means. And it's not really gouging because when you really look at the bottom line, all right, as to, well, how much did they have to pay in order to get those products, right? Then it really slims on how much money has gone into those businesses. So this whole price gouging, banning on, or if you want to call it price capping on things, is going to be bad because it's going to create conditions of limited supply, and it's just bad in the long run, right? It might sound good on the surface, but oh man, things are cheaper. But no, it's going to create, what they've been describing as, Soviet Union conditions, and It's going to create supply problems. It's just going to create a lot of issues that, yeah, it is basically what they're describing as bringing it back to the Soviet Union era and socialism, all that stuff. So yeah, it's bad. All right. And like I said, companies aren't really making that much money. The groceries and all that, they're not really making that much like it's made out to be. And you could tell she took this idea from Biden when Biden was attacking the grocery businesses and for these higher prices, and you're getting less for more money that you're paying, and it's not be necessarily because they're doing it on purpose. They're doing it because the cost of everything has gone up in making it, you know and there's only so much that a company can do because they're a losing money venture if they don't raise their prices. So how do you fix this? Right? How do you fix this problem? Well, shit. How about stop printing money? Stop bailing out, you know, college, and let businesses stop bailing out businesses. Let them fail. Stop creating all these vouchers and stipends and all this free giveaway stuff, and that'll put less. I guess you could say pressure on inflation because you're stopping on the printing of the money. Because all this giving away this, giving away that, price capping this, and trying to control and at the same time trying to spur spending is not doing any good. And as you can see, 4 years into it, it hasn't, right? And so stop it already. And that's what that whole thing is, all right? And then look, it's just everything's all about money giveaway, right? Down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. I think they were talking about like down payment assistance of like $25,000. So again, it's going to create in a sense a buying frenzy, okay? But at the same time, there's already kind of a limited supply because of building issues across the board, right? Cost of stuff to build these homes and places to live have gone way up because the supplies, again, of making it, building it based on, strict policies and all that have really caused prices to go up again because it's inflation. And again, when you have all these things that's driving and on the front side spending, but on the back side the free giving away money type of thing will create supply problems once again, and it's just going to cause prices to go up even more. So how do you get around to down payment assistance, and people being able to buy a home and all that? Oh, I know. Stop it already with the tight policies that is been forced because you don't want to kill a frog on the land that you're trying to build on, or you got to do all these strict environmental studies in terms of making sure that the grass that you cut in that area is not a threatened species, and shit like that. That's just part of the problem, right? And if you're not on the N Club to pay the Democratic officials to build, then you're stuck in a shithole trying to build, and you can't build because of these tight policies of building. You only can build it a certain way. You can't build it because of the zoning law. All that shit needs to be like crumpled up and thrown in the trash. So if you don't create a tough policy in terms of building, it would solve the cost issue of trying to make these things done, because once you open up the supply to be built, right? And it's going to create this supply in the market that would help fulfill demand, because all the excess supply would help lower the prices, right? And if you stop doing all this assistance stuff to like illegals and homeless, I hate to say it, but to the homeless, because they're part of the problem too, it would open up a supply of places to live. And if you allow the builders to build, the prices will come down. All right, so stop it already with this, you know, giving away money on home buying, because that's what's happening right now. For example, in California, they're doing down payment assistance for illegals too already. And it's like, wow, for illegals, that's crazy. Let's see, providing $6,000 per child to families for the first year of the child's life. That sounds nice, but again, you're giving away money, printing money you don't have, and this is going to create bigger families, right? Because people are going to be like motivated to pump out babies, 6,000 per child, right? Um, and these are supposedly to help tackle financial strain on the families that are living because of the cost of food, housing, childcare, and all that. But it's the policies that have driven the cost of everything to go up in terms of living. So when you look at it, like I described how the groceries and food companies work, and if you go about it this way as being proposed, man, we're going back to the Soviet Union era, right? Affordable housing and ownership. Well, shit, if you're not so damn tight on zoning and policies and all this crap, and let builders build and stop trying to shove homeless into these places for like low cost of living homes, and do things the right way, right? The only way to fix homelessness is to stick them in shelters, stick them in mental hospitals, and have them get treated, right? And my idea, my idea would be the shuttered prisons. House them in shuttered prisons, right? Get them the help that they need to get their mental capacities turned around, weaned off of drugs and all that, because they have an addiction problem, and with the homeless and illegals, and just the cost simply of being so high. That's the reason why home prices are so high. All right. If you do what I say, for example, like relax the policies, right? I say just get rid of it. Allow builders to build. You shove the homeless in these mental places, whether it's shuttered prisons. Shit, some of them you get locked up too, on the prison side of things. And the supply will be open, and then prices of homes will go down. I mean, it's just simple supply and demand, and allowing builders to build. So all this free money get away, bad. Healthcare and medical relief, right? Cost of healthcare has gone up again because they continue to force policies upon in medical, especially the whole insurance crap, right? Obamacare to me has been the driving factor and force as to why prices have really gone up over the years, because you got to have health care for all, right? Well, shit. That's what happened when you have a government run insurance program, because that's just what it is, right? For the ones that could barely afford it, government's here for them. And that Obamacare is what opened it up to all this, right? And their bigger picture that wants Kamala was trying to push was to go private or get rid of private companies, and it's all government run, and that's bad too because again, the difference between private and I guess you could say like HMO type places, like government run type insurance places. Kaiser versus your hospital and a pick of a doctor that you want, right? You got to deal with hours of long waiting to only be in for just for a few minutes, and they pump you right back out because they got to get to the next person, right? Whereas a private doctor, you have your own specific appointment, you have your own specific doctor, and it's more personable, right? It's more one on one. Same with you could go with dental too, right? Difference between a private practice versus Western Dental, right? Western Dental is like the HMO version. Western Dental, you're in a cattle line of people. It takes hours and hours of people to get through before they get to you finally. And then when they finally get to you finally, right? What happens? You're in for a few minutes. Come back again in 2 weeks so we can get the next part of the procedure done, right? And then you got to do it all over again, right? You go back in, you got to wait, all that crap. Versus in a private practice, your appointment is all done, and we'll see you again in a few months. Not a couple weeks later where we got to finish doing another piece of the pie and then come back in and do it. So you get what I'm saying? The difference between private practice and government run insurance is that's what's going to happen. You're going to be part of the cattle, and it's going to take hours to complete the cattle call, and then you got to come back again because they don't get it all done in the same visit. Whether it's doctor's office, whether it's dental office, it's the same thing. So yeah, it's bad, and it's because of Obamacare. So what you got to do is you got to find something in the middle because we all know that they struck down Obamacare when they tried to propose getting rid of it because there was no replacement proposal for it. So you got to find like a common ground for that. I don't have an answer for that one, but all I got to say is Obamacare needs to go. All right, it needs to go, and getting rid of the government involvement into it, and that will alleviate the cost of all this stuff, of the cost of insurance and all that. All right, that's just a lot of this stuff is really common sense, and a lot of it is if you actually do go to college, you take an economics class. You take economics in high school, and you can learn the bare basics of how economics works and what drives things and what doesn't. And it's just so easy to see. But yet, you have people running government that don't know jack shit about nothing and don't really see what's really happening because they've been paid for so long by lobbyists and outside interests that they don't realize how bad it is for everybody because they don't have to live in it, those kind of conditions to see, tax credits and child care support. I already talked about this stuff. It seems like Harris does a lot of copycat and stuff, right? So it says here Trump's running mate wants to raise credit from 2,000 to 5,000, but Harris tops it by saying 6,000. So like, come on, just like how no taxes on tips, right? A copycat of that. It's just funny. Contrast to Trump's economic vision. Trump has talked about tax cuts. Well, yeah, because you can't keep on taxing your way to think on everybody. And this whole thing with taxing the top, 1% or 2% or all that stuff, that can only go for so far and so long, and it doesn't really do nothing for nobody. And you really, really, really have to look at it across the board. How do you spur spending? Stop taxing everybody, right? And that will help drive things. But you tax everybody, that means you're restricting they're spending because you're taking their money from them rather than allowing people to spend their damn money. I mean, it's just simple. A lot of the stuff is simple, shit, and people just don't get it. You see stuff on the surface that sounds good, but they always say you can't have steak and eat it too, shit like that. Um, but yeah, so that's just my whole thing about it. I really had to just really cover it and talk common sense about it. That it's not all what it seems to be, and these dummies that are in government shouldn't. And think about it. All right, think about this for a second. And I'm not trying to say vote for Trump, vote for whatever, but Trump has a background in business, right? So when you really look at that itself is valuable because being on the business side of things, of course, you know how to run something with a budget, you know how to run something when it comes to money and how to manage it and what works best, right, to further stretch the dollar, further stretch value. And to me, that really goes to show how valuable that can be, having that knowledge and acumen. I mean, that's why things were so good during the time he was president, right? When you think about it economically. I'm not trying to speak on any other aspects of whatever it is that people want to talk about. I'm just talking about on the money side of things because when you have Biden and Harris now in the last 3-4 years, look how things have been reversing the money usage and everything else that Trump had in place. They reversed that stuff, and look what happens. And then now she's trying to propose Soviet Union sort of planning in terms of economic planning. It doesn't look good. It's not good. It's bad. It's all bad. And it's so easy when you get people, your everyday people like me, that can tell you how this sort of thing works. And I'm just an everyday person. I'm not some elite individual. I'm not some professor. I could just tell you on the side of just a simple experience. I've been on that side of stuff and see how it all works. So to me, that's valuable in itself, and that's the type of people you should be around and try to get knowledge of, because you'll have a better way of running things rather than Gavin Newsom. He's an idiot too in California, and then you see how bad things are because all they care about is spending money that they don't have, right? Like, how do you spend money you don't have? That's what we're currently experiencing now, right? Just keep giving away free money. California doing the same thing. These Democrats are a bunch of idiots, right? Think about that. Because they don't know how to spend because they constantly overspend, right? And it's like, how can you spend something that you don't have? So, let's just keep giving money to illegals, right? We'll give them insurance, we'll give them jobs, we'll give them cars, we'll give them license, we'll give them all these assistance to buy homes. But how's that really help anybody when you're just making the situation worse, right? Like bringing in illegals in the country to give them everything. I mean, when you look at that, how does that help with inflation too? That's actually feeding into the inflation as well, because you're bringing outside people and giving them free money, and none of this shit makes any sense. So think about all that, all right? But yeah, if you want to just keep going with the whole Biden and then turn up the volume Harris run presidency with her insane stuff, hey, go on ahead. The border's going to be bigger, and all the free money that. Think about it right now. The trillions that were in deficit will probably double just in the first year alone. Just because they just want to just keep spending. But anyhow, that's how the whole thing with what's being proposed is bad. It sucks. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about all that. And we'll talk on the next one. Thanks, subscribe, and I'll see you next one.